Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How are we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and this is a video I wasn't sure if I should make. Before we get into this, I just want to be as clear as possible, as 100% transparent as possible. I love Landy. I think Landy is a decent unit. I don't think she's horrible and unusable like people say. And she's so much fun to use. I love everything about her, except for a couple things, and those couple things we're gonna go over here. And this is just what I feel like were the problems with the launch of Landy and how they could fix it in the future if they think it's a problem and if you folks think it's a problem. So it's a little bit of everything. So I'd love your feedback in the comments below while you're hitting that like button, lol, just to see where we're at on this. So don't get angry for this video. I'm not trying to bash Landy. I'm trying to solve the issue with all the complaints about her going forward, if that makes sense. So first off, I have tried Landy extensively since she came out. I've tried her in every single guild war, every single battle. I've done a bajillion arenas. I've even dipped into RTA. I tried her in some PvE scenarios. I tried pretty much everything. This is the current build I'm semi-happiest with because this build kind of capitalizes on her uniqueness. I don't know if this is her best build. I think theoretically making her as fast as possible as like a CR pusher / damage dealer might be the best, but there are other better people that can do similar things to that. So to start off with talking about this, let's not talk about the unit itself. Let's talk about Landy being limited. And this is actually one of my biggest problems with the release of Landy, is that she was limited. I'm not against limited units, don't get me wrong. I think there are a ton of limiteds that have been thematically great. For example, potentially Luna at the time, but not really. Stuff like SSB, stuff like Euphine, stuff like the Guilty Gear collab. Those are all pretty good examples. Again, not in respect to their kit and how they perform, but in respect to the limited tag. And the reason why I'm not happy with Landy being a limited unit is because she is kind of like the front runner of the episode, right? Like if there's one person that pops out from all of the episode 2 or episode 3 story so far, it's Landy to me. And also it's shown in her release video with the anime cutscene as well. It's shown in the promotional stuff. It's everywhere. She's a character that obviously people are going to like. She's designed amazing. Her VA is fantastic. Everything about her is fantastic. And we are definitely going to see a lot more of her in the story to come. So my problem with this is anybody who starts in the next week or maybe didn't have enough bookmarks to try to get her is just not going to be able to take advantage of that. And there's not much worse for me as a player is seeing some promotional video of a character in a game and then going on and being like, wow, so I can't get this main character of this story. That just feels kind of bad to me. I really don't like that idea of a limited. I think there are a lot of other people they could have used as a limited here. They could have released Landy as a normal unit and then perhaps released a limited the week before or the week after, or just not released a limited, because Landy is going to get a ton of summons no matter what. Some good options for limited units are people that are not necessarily staples of the story, but are still those that we hold in high respect and or are really happy about. Some examples are people like Afi, the merchant leader, like Nanori, like Garo could be one. There are a ton of people like that that are just part of Epic 7, but not a huge part. And they're all things people are asking and hoping for. Or alternatively, this released with the Full Moon Festival as well. You could have released somebody in relation to that event. So now that we have the release of Landy out of the way and what I think about that, let's talk about her skill set. So again, I'm a very thematic person. Like, I love Landy because just the theme behind her, the story behind her, what she does. She's Policia's chief of police, maintaining public order. So to me, when I see a skill set, I think, wow, she is the chief of police, policing all the buffs. So for me, like, the buffs are the drugs, you know, and she's policing them and not letting anybody have them and punishing them for them, you know, like, that's my theme when I look at Landy. But in practice, she doesn't really do that. We have a skill 1, which helps her gain combat readiness when they're buffed, but it doesn't necessarily punish them for having buffs. We have the Chief is on the scene, which gives her attack stacks every time, and it punishes them for giving buffs, but at the same sense as her gaining the benefit instead of punishing those who get the buff. Does that make sense? And her skill 3 here kind of carries onto the Chief, where it's helped get up faster by them having buffs, but it doesn't punish them. And the reason why the punishing part is so important to me is because not only thematically it fits, but also the buffs are so strong. Like, the idea behind a unit right now that is designed to work around any buffs should be that they're good against those people. But we've seen Landy is just not really necessarily good against these people because the buffs are so strong. A good example is somebody like Fallen Cecilia will have shields up and she just doesn't break the shields. Crow puts up defense buff, she just does nothing. Dien puts up anti-crit buff, she gets another turn and does nothing. What else is there? There are so many. Elena procs her invincibility, she does nothing. On top of that, Elena, a person like revolving around buffs a lot of times, also reduces her AoE damage. And then combine that with the fact that people on those teams also run stuff like Aureus or Adamant Shield or stuff like that, damage mitigation stuff. She does insanely less because of that. Combined with being a ranger, not being the tankiest, she's still pretty tanky, but not being the tankiest, it makes her hard to do what she wants to do and last longer for her fights. So that is the main thematic problem I have with Landy. Some examples of this that have been done fantastically IMO are people like Sinful Angelica and ML Haste. Both of those are fantastic at what they do. They do what they do right. Everybody who kind of tries to oppose them in their specialty, like Arbiter Vildred and stuff, they kind of cower in fear at ML Haste, you know, like they're built to be this and they do this. So my problem with Landy is she's built to be this and she doesn't do this, if that makes sense. And again, we're only a week in. We could change completely 180 about her, how she's useful in these scenarios. But we will have to see. This is just my initial opinion. So overall, I'm very, very happy with her. But the fact that I can soul burn her skill 3 at plus 15 with 4k attack, 280 crit damage, and do double S2 and do like 6k damage just doesn't seem right for me. So looking back at her kit, how would I fix this? There's a couple things. Specifically, I want her to punish. You know, that's a theme with what I like. But I want her to punish things because she's the chief of police. That's what she should be doing. She's maintaining order by boosting herself up and not fixing the problem, you know? Like, it just doesn't thematically make sense for me. I'm a big flavor fan, you know? Like, it should thematically work right in my head. So there's a couple ways to change this. You need to want to dissuade, is that the right word, people from having buffs, right? Like, for example, if you have Landy on the team and your opponent has Alencia, for example, or has Crow. Crow's a better example. You want to dissuade the Crow from putting up his defense buffs because it will punish him for it. That's the type of thing I expected from that. But instead, let's say you're against Crow, you 100% want to pop up your defense buff because whatever benefit Landy gets, that one defense buff is enough to negate everything, basically. So ways to fix this is to have some sort of I don't know the right way. Like, you could absorb buffs in a sense, because that's kind of what she's doing. She's punishing them and like seizing the drugs, you know, seizing the buffs away. You could make it so she ignores the buffs, which is kind of like ignoring defense, which would help her skill 3. You could make her skill 3 multiplier, especially the burn, that's the important part, be especially potent. So in longer battles where you go 5 turns, she actually has an impact there. You could make it so the final tally of Chief is on the scene does something extra special. Instead of just getting that 5th stack of 50%, once you hit 50%, you could get all damage penetrates defense or something like that. There's a ton of stuff you can do. I'm not sure the right one. I'm not sure if she needs to be changed, but overall, I think she needs something. Another thing to say is, too, her artifact feels like something that should have been tacked onto her kit, because that would definitely help her out. Because one of the problems I had with Landy is because her turn cycling is so great, she can't maintain attack buffs. She'll cycle off the attack buffs from my maid Chloe, for example. Not to mention she loses the stacks, I think, on my maid Chloe when she dies and gets revived. But it's just a little bit backwards to me there. So yeah, we're gonna stop talking here. I think I made my points. I tried to be as objective as possible. And again, just to be absolutely clear, Landy is one of my favorite units to use. I love her to death. I love her personality. I love her skill set is fun to use. Not necessarily the best, but it's extremely fun to use. Everything about her I love, except for all of those things I just mentioned. Anyways, let me know what you think about Landy. And again, I'm trying not to be too critical. I'm trying not to be just like, Landy's bad, this sucks, you know? I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying to be looking at every side. So I'd love to hear your opinion. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.